It's your friendly math tutor, Miss C, here to unlock the magic of solving one-step equations involving fractions. We're starting with 1/4 x equals 5. Now, you might see this equation written in a slightly different way called an equivalent form. So another way of writing 1/4 x equals 5 is x over 4, or x divided by 4 equals 5. These two equations are exactly the same. Why? Well, we could really write 1/4 times x divided by 1 equals 5. That's exactly the same thing. And then, as you might remember, when we multiply fractions together, we multiply numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator, and that gives us this fraction here. So, if you ever see equations written as 1/4 x equals 5 or x divided by 4 equals 5, you approach them the exact same way. All right, let's get to this. So our goal is to make the left side of the equation equal to x, or 1x. We have a couple of options for doing that. We could either multiply 1/4 by its reciprocal, or we could use the inverse operation. So in this case, 1/4 x is being multiplied, or 1/4 is being multiplied by x. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing, so I could divide by 1/4. I've seen a lot of errors made using the inverse operation due to input errors in the calculator. So my number one choice, always for dealing with fractions in this type of situation, is to multiply by the reciprocal. So let's go ahead and do that. As a reminder, a reciprocal looks like this. So if we have 1/4, the reciprocal is really the fraction flipped upside down, or that fraction inverted. So the reciprocal of 1/4 is 4/1. So now that we know that, we're going to go ahead and multiply 1/4 by its reciprocal, which is 4/1 in math. And in solving equations, what we do to one side of an equation, we do to the other. So if I multiply the left by 4/1, I have to multiply the right side by 4/1. And now we simplify. So 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4 times x equals 5 times 4 is 20. Underneath every number is a 1. It's not written, so 1 times 1 is 1. So now we know 4 divided by 4, that was our reciprocal. It should equal 1, which it does. 1 times x is x. 20 divided by 1 is 20. So our solution here is x equals 20. I, of course, would want to check my answer. So everywhere I see x, I'm plugging in 20. Is 1/4 of 25? The answer is yes. So we have solved that correctly. Here's another problem. It looks a little different because our numerator is 2 rather than 1. So its equivalent form looks like 2x divided by 5 equals 6. You solve both of these equations in exactly the same way, and we're going to do that by multiplying by the reciprocal. In this case, the reciprocal of 2/5 is 5/2. Remember, we're just flipping that fraction over to invert it. If I multiply the left side by 5/2, I have to multiply the right side by 5/2. And now we're going to just make sure that we did this correct. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 5 is 10, times x is x. There is a 1 hidden underneath the 6, so we're just going to write that for our multiplication purposes. 6 times 5 is 30. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, we're going to simplify. 10 divided by 10 is 1, so we did our reciprocal, right? 1 times x is x. 30 divided by 2 is 15. And now let's go ahead and check our answer by plugging in 15 everywhere we see x. As a reminder, there's a 1 underneath this 15, and now we're just going to multiply numerator to numerator. So 2 times 15 is 30. Denominator to denominator, 5 times 1 is 5. That gives me 6. 6 equals 6. Check, we did that correctly. Thank you for taking the time to solve one-step equations involving fractions with me. Make sure to subscribe for more math videos.